Alright, what's up everyone? This is NinjaDeathStrike bringing you a very special Pokemon TCGO battle. Obviously, because you can see me. This is my 100 subscriber special. I just passed 100 subs on YouTube, and I wanted to do some special subscriber thing. So, you get to stare at my face the whole time you watch the match. Lucky you. Originally, I wanted to do like an ELO style narration where I stand in the back and look all pretty and comment on the battle that's over here. But my equipment sucks. I tried that for about 2 hours. Sounded like I was either underwater or from the future and a cyborg, and the screen was really blurry too, and it just looked awful, and I decided that you guys deserve better because I love you. So this is what we've compromised on. I'm going to just replace my avatar picture in the screen with my face, and you can watch me talk Pokemon at you while I battle. So should work out okay. Hopefully it'll be alright. I wish that I could have done it the other way because I wore like my favorite shirt and everything for you guys. But alas, it was not meant to be. So we're going to try this out. I'm going to set up the video. Hang tight. I'll be back in 1 second and we'll get this show started. Alright, so let's see what we've got here. This is a new deck that I built, of course, I always say that, but it's another new one. And this is a deck I really, really like so far. It's called Thunder Zone. Features Electric along with Magnezone Prime and then a slew of big basics that serve as early game attackers. And so this is actually one of the very first matches I had with it, just testing it out to see what it was capable of. And this match turned out to be a pretty good one. Not exactly like a Clash of the Titans good, but it provided me with a really great teaching opportunity, and that's why I picked it for this battle. I figured it would be a good one to showcase here. So I'm going to mulligan a couple of times because I'm awesome and I need to give my opponent as many advantages as I can so that I don't beat them down. Just kidding, I suck. But basically, I don't draw any basics, which is really surprising because I run quite a few. But you know, it happens sometimes, so I think I finally get a basic on this next one, so he's going to get to draw 2 extra cards. And take a look at his stats. He's got 64 wins, a bunch of cards, so he should have a real deck, which is always nice, and nothing better than clicking expert game and facing basic yellow. So I get stuck with a lone Dynamo lead. That's not awesome. He gets to draw some cards. That's less awesome. And then I lose the coin flip to go first, so yeah, not fantastic, but he flips over a lone Rotom, and my first thought is Durant. Durant is the main thing that runs Rotom, and I was right. So Durant is hugely popular on TCGO right now. It's super annoying to fight. You know, I've played a video with it. It is a fun deck to use. I understand why people use it, but I'm so sick of it. And losing to it just hurts. It's kind of demoralizing. And anyhow, he played that collector. He only got 2 Durants, so that means 2 of them are probably prized. And usually when you're playing Durant and you have 2 prized Durants, that's a good game. But he lucks out here. He has that Alpha Lithograph in hand. That lets him look at his prize cards immediately, and he started with that Rotom, which is usually a terrible start, but here it's going to be okay because it means he can get another one out of his prizes. He flips that dual ball and he's got 3 ants on turn 1. Now I'm thinking, alright, well that's not a big deal. He's still not going to be able to attack this turn. Nope, he's got a switch too. So for starting with 2 Durant's prize, he comes out of the gate strong. He's able to devour for 3. Luckily for me, I have that collector in hand. I have 3 collectors in hand, actually, because I don't know what it is with me and collectors, but I always seem to draw all of them. And I'm actually only going to get Zekrom here. And I know usually I tell you guys when you play a collector, always take 3 cards, even if you don't need them at the moment, just to increase the probability of you drawing something better later. But when you're playing Durant, you don't want to thin out your deck unless you have to. And I really only need 1 attacking Pokemon. Durant decks don't do any damage, and so I'm completely safe. Or not, I shouldn't say completely, but relatively safe just getting up a Zekrom. It's so big, he's never going to be able to kill it. So I just pick Zekrom, leave the other cards in my deck, and he manages to get another collector, and now he's got 4 Durants. So he turned his hand around quickly. He's fully set up, and he's going to be able to devour for 4. So I need to get going pretty quickly, and I need to come up with a plan. Now here, I top deck in Electric, and I think about it for a while. I don't know if I want to evolve or not. If I do evolve it, it's going to be catcher bait, and Durant decks play a lot of catchers. But that energy acceleration is going to be really nice. Help me get Zekrom powered up as quickly as possible, so I do decide to evolve him and risk the catcher. I can also somewhat mitigate the damage of catcher thanks to Dynamotor. I can just attach from my discard pile to Electric, and that'll cut down on his retreat cost. So I go ahead and play a Professor Oak here. Professor Oak is really the card that you want, the supporter that you want to play against Durant. Things like Sage and Juniper are big time dangers. It's okay to play one of those cards, usually early game, to help you get set up, but more than that is really helping out your opponent because you're discarding so many cards, whereas with Oak you shuffle them back in, and so you don't thin your deck out nearly as much. So I get some energy here, which is great. Can go ahead and attach to Zekrom and then Dynamotor to Electric. Just as I feared, Electric gets catchered up on the next turn, and he devours. So luckily, I got that electric energy. I can manually attach it, and then I can use Dynamotor, even when I'm active, to put another energy on Zekrom. And so now, on turn 3, I have a Zekrom fully charged up, and that's really all I need. When you're facing Durant, you only need one good attacker. You want to pick your attacker that will be able to consistently OHKO all of the ants every turn. If it's something that's going to take 2 turns, that's too slow and you won't have cards by the end. You need to get one thing that can take out all the Durants all the time and get that active. After that, you want at least one thing on your bench, just in case something gets knocked out. But other than that, you really need to be careful about what you play down on your bench. If you play down something that's big and heavy and has a big retreat cost, it's going to get catchered up and it's going to get trapped active while these Durants just eat your deck away. You can see that's what he's trying to do here. He catches again. I believe this is the second time. It happens so many times in this game, I kind of lose track. And I'm in a bit of a spot here because, just like I said, I've got that 2 retreat cost, and I wasn't able to activate Dynamotor to get an electric energy. So now I'm in a bit of a spot, but I take a look at my discard pile. I see that he has actually discarded a switch out of my deck, so that's going to be fantastic. I can get rid of this useless Pokemon collector and a Sage, since Sage is a terrible idea right now, and grab that switch. So that's going to let me get out of the active spot and send Zekrom back up to continue the assault. So once I'm on the bench, I can go ahead and use Dynamotor again and attach another energy, and now all I have to do is draw into an energy next turn, and I'll be safe to retreat again if I need to. So I hit ant number 2 with a Bolt Strike. That special metal energy not going to be enough to save it, and I pull an electric energy out of my prizes, which is fantastic. So now he sends up another ant, and he's kind of in a tight spot. He can't do a whole lot to hurt me. He just has to hope that I don't have any more energy to be able to keep retreating that electric. That's really his only hope, to trap that thing active and keep it there for a couple of turns. So here he plays a Twins. He has some options. He's going to take quite a while to choose what he wants, and that's okay. Usually when people stall, it's really frustrating. We've all played those people who sit there for 20 minutes and just force you to time out, and that really sucks. But then there's also people who play down cards like Twins and just want to take their time to think about what they want, and that's okay. Like, if you need to take 2 or 3 minutes to make the right choice, don't feel bad about that. Take as much time as you need, as long as you're not purposely slow playing. It's not a big deal. So he's going to look through all of his options. He probably is trying to decide between getting a Revive, catcher, and another Twins. So looks like he at least took a catcher here. Pulls electric, back up, but unfortunately for him, I have that energy in hand, and that's not going to help him out a whole lot. He also doesn't have an energy of his own, which sucks, and I would have probably opted for that over a catcher, but I understand his thought process here. Unfortunately for him, I keep drawing energy, so it's the same song and dance. Again, retreat electric for the third time, attach that energy with Dynamotor, and now that I've bolt striked twice, I have 80 damage. I don't need to bolt strike again. I can just use outrage to hit for 100, and that is going to waste each and every one of these Durants every turn. So he's down to 2 now because he didn't play Revive, a Super Rod, or any way to get them back into his deck last turn. Instead, he decided to get what looks like a catcher and another Twins. Again, like I said, I understand him trying to stall by pulling up electric, but it didn't work out for him here, and now he's even further behind because instead of 3 ants, he's only got 2. So again, he's going to have a tough choice. He needs a lot of stuff, and he can't get it all. He needs a catcher, 2 revives, or a super rod, and a dual ball, and he's got another Twins. It's just too much stuff to get with that Twins, and that's why I don't really like Twins in a Durant deck. It certainly can work, but I feel like it's a little slow. I'd opt for N or more hand refreshers usually rather than the Twins. They just aren't quite fast enough for me. Meanwhile, I draw a DCE. That's another free retreat as Electric gets catchered for the 4th time. And then I just outrage, take out that ant, and now he's only got 1 Durant. So, if he had played some hand refreshers in those last few turns instead of Twins, he could have got a Super Rod and some dual balls, or, a Super Rod and collectors, or some way to get multiple ants back on the field in 1 turn. But instead, he has to opt for the Twins, which is not working out here. Then he flips the double heads on that dual ball. It doesn't have anything to get. And so now he plays an N, and this is where the wonderful Noble Victories glitches come into play. A full art N doesn't work. You will always draw the amount of prizes as the person who played it. I should have only drawn 2 prizes there. Instead, I drew 6. So, oops. And the really dumb thing is that regular N works fine. It's only the full art version. They're the exact same card. One works, one doesn't. That's how lazy the programming on TCGO is. So yeah, he tells me he forgot about it. I let him know that regular art N is at least working. He also plays a Evilite. That doesn't work either. And so this guy can't catch a break. But in the end, it didn't really matter because if you saw the first card I drew off of that N was an energy. So even if I had been catchered again, wouldn't have been a big deal. I had the energy to get out of there. So he also evolves into Hypno, and this is another card I do not like in Durant decks. Hypno is played as a staller, but I don't like it for the sheer fact of probability. You need to flip a heads to put their Pokemon to sleep, and then they need to flip a tails to stay asleep. So there's actually only a 25% chance that they're going to stay asleep on their turn. Of course, I flip tails and stay asleep, but just because it works once doesn't mean you can rely on it. It's a really inconsistent card, and I don't like it. He also plays Cheerleader's Cheer, which is an interesting card. It's really good for people who don't know how to play Durant. That card is a trap. Ladies and gentlemen, if you see it in a Durant deck, do not draw that card. You're just helping them out. So he's going to junk arm here. Again, he's in the same problem he was before. He can only get one thing, and he needs a lot more than one thing. So he opts to get a switch. That'll let Hypno get out of there. But he's only going to be able to devour for a maximum of 2 cards this turn. And as you can see, my deck's pretty thin, but I've sitting comfortable. I don't have a whole lot to worry about here. Now, if Zekrom stays asleep for a couple more turns, it's going to be another story. Luckily, I wake up here, and I have a junk arm. So what I decide is, screw Durant. There's only 2 of them out. That's not a problem. I don't want to be put to sleep anymore. Even though I said 25% chance, it just happened. So I just want that Hypno dead. I don't want to deal with it. So I'm going to junk arm, get rid of these useless sages, grab a catcher, and the plan was to pull him up and take him out with an outrage. But my opponent just concedes here. He really didn't have any outs. And so that's going to be the match. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is how you beat Durant. Conserve your resources. Don't play extraneous basics on your bench. And that's a good rule for any game. Don't play basic just because you have it in your hand. If you're going to do something with it, alright, go ahead and put it down, get it ready. Or if it's got a poke power or something, but don't play it just to play it. You need to have a reason for doing it, because if it gets captured and stuck active, you lose. On top of that, be careful of your supporters, and just be mindful of what you have in your discard pile, and take advantage of your junk arms, and they're discarding the cards for you. So anyhow, there you go. That's how you beat Durant. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please let me know what you thought of this narration style. If you liked it, I can certainly do some more of these, and I will definitely have some more videos coming your way shortly. Thanks, guys.